Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Walk-Ins Welcome. Nick here, and today we're bringing you another one of our live webinar sessions, and this time it's the cost of digital marketing. If you've ever been following along with us, you know we host these webinars to help urgent care leaders get more patients, deliver better care, and get repeat visits and scale their clinics. That is our mantra, and this one dives into the dollars and the cents behind that mission. We talk about what's really driving up marketing cost, why AI hasn't actually made things cheaper, and how to plan smarter for 2026. And you're going to hear us dig in a little bit into what I call the big three of marketing success. It's awareness, it's conversion, it's retention, and it's how each one of these affects your bottom line. So if you're mapping out your next year's marketing budget, or you're just trying to make sense of where your ad spend is going, this is the episode for you. It's going to help you get clarity and confidence in your numbers. So let's jump in, the cost of digital marketing. All right. So if you've listened to any of our previous webinars or you listen to our podcast, Walk-Ins Welcome, you always hear me say that we want to help you get more patients, deliver better care, get repeat visits, and scale your clinic. So anytime you're going to come onto a webinar with us, it's our design to help you do these things here, because you got into the urgent care space not only to take care of people, but also to scale in such a way where you can get more freedom in your business, okay? So you got to have more patients to do that. In order to get them to come back for repeat visits, you have to deliver really good care. And then ultimately the scale piece is where you're not doing everything by yourself. So we're going to spend some time today talking about those things. All right, here we go. We're going to start with why marketing costs are rising. I think it's a very good question to go, okay, well, with AI and everything else that's going on, why do we not see why do we not see prices falling? But this is the reality. You're seeing an increased competition for ad space. For the first time in the agency since we've been doing urgent care, we're seeing where the level playing field is now causing prices to go up. It used to be you could write a better ad to the right person at the right time in the right way. And a lot of people have figured out how to do that. AI has given you good tools to be able to do that.
Not all good tools.
Well, some good tools to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But if you have 10 urgent cares in the competitive space in any given market, by default, the demand increases, and so the prices increase. Okay. AI-driven bidding and automation fees is one of the biggest things that's causing this to happen. You would think that AI would drive the cost down because that's what they're talking about over and over again. But here's the problem. It's not perfect, and it doesn't do anything consistently. So one of the challenges with that is you get some good, some bad, some ugly, and then the prices start getting squirrely. Everything goes up.
Well, and I think one thing that people forget, these platforms that you do run ads on,
correct,
they're designed to make money. They're not going to build a tool that shortchanges them.
That's right.
That's just not going to do it. Like, they want to get you results because they want you to keep coming back, but they're not going to make this magic tool that cuts your costs in half and then they lose a bunch of money. That would never fly in any business.
100%. Another thing is patients are expecting more from their experience with your clinic. Mm-hmm. That digital front door, that digital brick and mortar, which is the internet and your business listing on the internet. It's no longer okay to just be available on a phone call. Okay. Now they are expecting to be able to book online, and they're being able, they're expecting a response from that booking of, here's a confirmation from your appointment. Here's what to expect. Upload all of your information. Not only does that drive up, that doesn't necessarily drive up digital marketing costs, but it does drive up clinic costs to be able to have some of these tools. And it's just an expensive doing business these days. Yep. And of course, there's always costs involved when you do an omni-channel approach. This is being found on Facebook, Google, television, print, radio, you name it, all the different channels that make sense for you to advertise in. Well, each one of those have a cost to them. So here's the reality check. Patients are searching 24/7. Just because your business operates from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. doesn't mean that at 10 p.m. people don't get sick. And this is where some of those online schedulers come in, so they can schedule for the next day when you're open. If you're not visible, by default, you're invisible, right? If you have to click or scroll down a page to find access to your clinic, by default, you're not visible on the internet. Your online presence is your first impression, okay? And you have to make it a good first impression. So here's an example of what a bad first impression is. I see an ad.
Yeah.
I click over, I see your ad. I want to do business with you. I want to schedule in there. I click over to your website, and the first thing they see is pay your bill.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Sorry, urgent cares. If you think, yes, it's important that people pay their bills, but that can't be your number one call to action. A lot of you do that, and I think you should stop doing that. You should just move it to somewhere less obvious because you care more about that next patient coming in, not the patient that owes you money, right? But that's a real thing. We kind of joke about it, and you're probably saying, "Oh, does my homepage say pay?" But the worst part,
Go check.
yeah, go check. But like, check it on your phone because you're just even more obvious on the phone that pay bills the first, not even a phone number, just pay bill.
Exactly. So, it also lets you know your priority, which by default, yeah, you want to make money, but your priority should be to take care of the visit and lower the barrier of entry into your clinic, not to get their money right out of the gate. And then you will either rise to the level of the systems you have in place, or you'll die to them. All right. So growth requires a system, and you can't, it's not hope and a prayer. It's not a wish, right? So creating systems, even in your marketing, just like you do in every other system in your business, that's going to be what develops your growth. All right. So let's do a quick poll. Hannah's going to drop the poll. What's your current monthly marketing budget? Is it under 1,000? Is it between 1,000 and 3,000? Are you up to 7,500 or 7,500 plus? I take 2 seconds. Cue your mental Jeopardy. Michael's going to do it in real time.
But yeah, so we'll just give it just a second longer and we'll move on. And then the sad part is, I have to tell you, is if you're under, if you have a marketing budget, it's under 1,000, it may just be burning dollars.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Doesn't won't let you do it.
That's okay.
And it took it away. So
that's great.
Cool. So we have a good. So thank you. Nobody is under 1,000 that we can see.
Hey, or they didn't answer.
Or yeah, exactly. They didn't want to answer. But we're seeing between that 1 to 3,000, at 3 to 7,500. Like those are like the majority, which is cool. And then we have somebody out there that's doing 7,500 plus, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I have a bet that ad spend is a chunk of that for sure. But no,
and we want that to be.
Yeah, yeah. So absolutely. So that's super cool to see that you guys, you were actually falling in a pretty good spot if you're between that 3,000 to 7,500. That's a pretty healthy place to be. Now, one thing we didn't mention here, but if you are you including like internal team pieces of that as well?
But when I do, I look at my team, my physical. I hate to call it labor, but it is.
It's the cost.
You look at the labor cost attached to it. You look at the software cost attached to it. My challenge to you, probably that one person who had answered 7,500 plus is either a multi-location clinic, which is awesome, or they know to include all of those different things. Same with the 3 to 7,500.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's keep rolling here.
Yep.
Just kidding.
All right. So let's go through the marketing mix of things. So we're going to touch on some of that. So when it comes to marketing mix, now we're talking, we're digital focused, so it's going to be heavy on that side, but there's some things that break down here. So the main pillars of marketing, you have the awareness, the conversion, and the retention. So the awareness side is like, are you actually available when people are searching? Like, can they find you? But when we talked about like that first impression online is so important, like they can actually see where you are. Conversions where they clicked on something and hopefully they became an appointment or hopefully they walked in, but you didn't lose them because the awareness, you can like, oh, I showed up. Like Nick was saying earlier, I showed up in their search. Awesome. Then what? And so if the conversion doesn't happen, it doesn't matter how much effort and money you put into marketing if you can't get them to convert. It's a real problem too, because urgent care, like a lot of industries, but urgent care very particularly, they move to the next person very quickly. And so if I'm calling and I get a busy signal or a please hang on from the front desk, and then it goes to like a 2 or 3 minute wait, probably going to hang up and call the next one in line on the search, just because that's what most people do. They don't, sadly, we'll talk about running in a minute, but sadly, they don't know who you are when they call you. I mean, they don't even care. They're hoping that you say urgent care. They don't care what the brand of that is. They just care like, can you help me?
Even better if you smile.
Yeah, smile while talking on the phone is important.
And I got to stop here for a moment. This is funny that you say that. We had that video going around the office of that comedian that goes, "Hey, you got $40? We'll figure this out together."
We'll figure this out together.
Just a little enthusiasm goes a long way. Hey, we got you.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so the conversion is super important. Got to recognize that. And then retention. Retention is one of those items that we quickly can forget about because like we already got the patient. Yeah. But what's going to bring them back in as a patient? Because if they had a great experience, Why wouldn't they come back? Well, they don't come back because they don't remember you and they don't
That's a good
know
point.
what's going on. And so that's just that hard reminder. Like you have to be intentional. As Nick has said, you'll fail to your systems, whatever you build. If you don't have a system for retention or bringing those patients back in, they're just not going to. You're going to hope that they come back in, which doesn't work. All right. So common mistakes that we see inside of this thing. So overspending on ads where you're just kind of spray and pray situation.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing.
it's real. The platforms are one of those items where they want you to spend the dollars, right? And so they're going to make wild suggestions sometimes. But no, it's real. Like if you're not like focused on the right targeting, or if your radiuses are too broad, you're just going to, yeah, you'll get clicks or you'll get impressions, but they're not actually doing anything. They're just costing you dollars. We've seen it time and time again when we get the audit an ads account and their conversions are like in the 30 to 40. They don't even know, like most of the time they don't know, but their conversions are 30, 40 plus. And they have like a healthy ad spend budget, but it's like, I don't see anything from it. It's like, well, here's why. Like you're blowing money on these things that you don't even have a service for, or you're getting a ton of clicks that's like 20 miles away. They're not going to come, they're going to click and say, oh, that's too far. They're going to move on. So there's like a common thing right there, just to kind of dig into that just a little bit. Next is like the underspending on retention. So there's a really good chance that most of you guys don't do any type of retention beyond like a simple one message follow up, which is really
Replace the word with retention with repeat.
yeah, repeat visitors.
Yeah.
We say retention in our world, but repeat
Correct.
visitors for you guys, repeat patients. You may not have a system. You may say, well, if they'll get sick again, they'll come find me. Like maybe. And then if you have something running that's like an actual special of some sort, like sports physicals or immigration, like these items that may be seasonal, how do you reach your existing population that actually had a good experience with you? Like, what does that look like? You may not have one. Visibility. So just this is a real thing in the urgent care space where your hours change seasonally. We recognize that. And when summer's coming up, you reduce your hours because just the demand isn't quite there unless you're like a destination vacation city. And so it actually creates confusion on the web. So when I go to look on your business profile and it says you're open from 8 to 8, but your website says 8 to 6. But then I saw something on social media that said 8 to 2 because the last time you updated it was like 4 months ago, which was summer. And then all of a sudden there's confusion, and that just hurts you because if you confuse your potential patient, they're not going to convert. They're just not.
Well, it's going to be kind of annoying, but like with the hours and the times,
Yeah.
when our clients, when our urgent carriers reach out to us and say, hey, our hours need to be updated, there's like 30 touch points that we have to go to and make sure that it's updated on all the multiple landing pages
Yeah,
we use, the
it's
website,
real.
the Google business profile, all the things.
Layered.
So make sure that you, one of the things I want to say for local visibility or inconsistent here is a good spreadsheet of all the areas where that information is sourced.
Yeah.
Would be a good thing to keep on hand.
Easy, yeah. Keep it easy and easy access that you have to go find one central place. Recommend it. Other thing too that we see a lot of clinics suffer on where they have like urgent cares don't have a problem getting reviews. Like you guys are pretty good at getting it.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, like,
now just answer them.
Probably
without breaking.
The other side of it is: are you answering the reviews? Are you consistently answering the reviews? Or are you only answering the good ones and you ignore the bad ones? That's a visibility issue, right? Because if I see that you're only answering had a great time, and then one said this was terrible, and you don't say anything to them, that kind of builds up a wall as a potential patient. Like, well, maybe they don't care that much.
Right.
So it's just something to keep in the back of your mind. Next, chasing trends over strategy. This is real because AI is that trend that every day there's a new AI tool that could solve all your problems, and then you spend time and money in it, and then you find out 3 months later it didn't solve anything, and another one comes out at the same time. The most, what I heard once was, this is a great new idea until the next new idea comes. And so that one's not that great anymore. You hear it all the time. And then also finally, are you measuring any of this? Are you actually making money with your marketing or not? That's our viewpoint. If you're not making money with this, then why use us? Like, that's just very simple, right? Where if I spend $1,000, but I only got $800 worth of patients, that's not good enough. Why would I keep spending my dollars, right? I'll just eventually run out of dollars. So it's just that clear, obvious, like, how are you tracking that? How are you connecting the dots? Are you confident in it? And I know sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's super hard to connect every single dot very cleanly. But when you look at trending data year over year and just look at things overall, you say, okay, I can see where things have improved or haven't improved, and you can make better decisions off of that. So, all right. So it comes right into this question right here. Which marketing area do you feel your clinic underinvests in? So we talked about the visibility side, the conversion side, and the retention side. My guess is retention. That's my guess, but I don't know. So we'll get
for us, even though we're not an urgent care, I'll tell you that retention and follow-up is the area that we could do better in focusing real dollars, real effort, real energy.
There's always money left on the table.
For you, it could be SEO and visibility, and a lot of the times, especially recently, people are more focused on ads and conversion, which is amazing. The challenge with SEO and visibility is the volatility, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we're with you. Thank you for answering that. 100% on the retention and follow up.
So. Yeah, exactly. So that's totally expected. Because you just don't think about it, right? Because you're like, well, they moved on as a patient. If they want me, they'll come back to me, and that's just
not reality.
It's just not. I wish it was. But anyway, so we're going to move over to the breakdown of what we're doing.
So let's take a look at this. And again, we're not going to teach you about SEO today. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the costs and some expectations on financials. So let me set some ground rules for this real quick. We are not talking about what it costs for us to do things for you. I'm not here to sell you anything today. We want to make sure that we're giving you real world examples of what we see, whether you're doing it in-house, whether you have somebody else doing it. And the reason why is we see people that are way overspending in areas and severely underspending in others. I'll give you a great example of this slide here. This is one that we see people way underspend in. All right. So SEO improves your clinic's online visibility. I like to say it this way. Search engine optimization, simply put, is the art of getting found on the internet. That's it. That's the search engine is Google or Bing or now
AEO.
Now ChatGPT has its own thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And you get all these sold on these things of, well, let me fix your AEO, which is the answer engine optimization.
Which nobody has the answer to.
Nobody has the answer to. And then when you dig deeper, you realize that as it sits right now, your SEO techniques work with AEO because they haven't defined everything yet.
Correct. So let's look at the cost real quick and to help you understand why things cost what they cost. All right. So first of all, if you're paying less, I'm going to say less than $750 a month or budgeted less than that a month, here's the problem with that. Simply just not going to work. But Nick, this isn't an ad I place. No, I get that. What I am talking about is there are physical dollars that are attached to softwares. There are physical dollars that are attached to link building. That and a backlink to your website has so much positive authority, but they can cost anywhere between $300 and $1,000 just for one.
And that will expire.
Yeah, and it'll go away. Right?
It will go away.
Now it'll help you rank, but it'll go away. There's softwares that help you distribute your online listing all over the internet. And that's one of the things, the 30 plus touch points that we talked about when you need to update your hours. The point is the physical costs are way more than $99 a month. So when you see like a $99 a month SEO agency or something like that, I'm just going to tell you buyer beware because there's no physical dollar amount way that they could execute.
Yeah, because we've even tried ourselves, like some of these like things where it's $99 a month, $250 a month, and what it ends up being is usually a listings correction.
Correct.
Or they go into your business profile and just get it to 100% completion, and you'll feel a boost off of it for a month.
Correct.
And then after that, it'll start to fall again. And they can't do much more than that. And they'll say, we've done all these things like, no, but it's just real. Like we've been doing this for quite a long time and we see the cost and we're not even considered like the high end cost people per se. Cause like this 1 to 4,000, we're like right smack in the middle of that.
Correct.
And so like, it's just a real thing. Like there's just layers to it. We have layers of people on our team that work on these items, not just like one person that does everything. So,
and another thing that's going to be driving costs are they spending money on the areas that need to be spent in? So if you are investing in a entire city, for example, we're here in Birmingham. So if you're trying to find a 25-mile radius, but you can only serve 3 to 5 miles, you see a lot of people overspending, trying to reach areas that they're never going to serve in the first place. So these are the kind of fluctuations I'm talking about.
And the last point there before we move to the next slide is most of these online $50, $100, $300 a month ones, they don't know how an urgent care works. And so they assume you want to rank for the whole city when you only want to rank 3 to 5 miles. And so most of them don't understand that, and they just don't. And it makes sense why they wouldn't, because it's such a weird model that is so tight. And because like your search volumes and all things make a lot of sense. And so they just apply just a general practice to it, and it usually doesn't work out. So.
Awesome.
Moving
All
on.
right.
So talk about website development. This is my piece. I've been doing web stuff. I built my first WordPress website back in like 2011 and 2012, back when WordPress was a baby. Like 10% of websites now is like 50. So this conversation will be around WordPress because that's what we do. I don't know how much a Webflow or a Squarespace, what people charge for that these days, or Wix and all the things. But for WordPress, which is kind of the gold standard for SEO practices, that's why we do it. The development cost is all over the place, and there's reasons for this. Some of it is just some people are just going to charge more for no reason at all. They're just going to naturally charge more because they just have a higher price entry. And then the other side is if you go overseas and you get it done, you can get a good looking WordPress website done overseas for like probably $1,000. But here's what you get when you actually do that, because I've seen a lot of them. One is probably they bought something pre-done, like a template, and then they plugged in some stuff and they forgot to remove stuff. There's actually, we had a client, he gave us this, we're going to host your site in WordPress. On the surface, like, that site looks pretty good. And, he liked all the things. And he dug a little deeper, like, this is a dental theme. And then you start finding dental pages that were just baked in. And then all of a sudden you have an urgent care site that has dental on it. Anyway, so things you got to look out for. So the development piece, like 3 to 12,000. Give you a perspective. If you are not a client, you're coming to us, you want us to build your website, we charge $5,000 to build your website. And then there may be some additional costs if there's some custom functionality that goes into it. But if you're looking for a pure marketing site, at 3 to 12 is real. But we've also seen like $100,000 website quote before, which
not too long ago.
Not too long ago. We didn't quote that, and that quote was built on the idea like there was probably about 400 or 500 pages to be built, because it was like tons of locations and all these different things, and there's layers to that. So that's where that kind of falls into place there. That's why that's so broad. But what it matters though is the design represents your brand, the services are being represented, the call to actions are well defined, and it looks great on your phone. Like, that's where it matters. And so focusing more on that and not just the price per se, because as we know, once you build your website, you probably don't want to rebuild it for another 3 years.
Right.
Or I've seen older ones for sure, but 3 years, three to 4 years now is fine for a renewal. I wouldn't go much further than that, and I don't think you benefit from a year or two later you rebuild the whole site again. I don't think there's a benefit there.
Let me spend 1 minute here and let's look at the thought process behind this. Your website is your digital brick and mortar.
Yep.
Okay. Think about what it costs to rent your building. Think about what it costs to do the build out in your building. Think about the length of the term that you have in that building.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is your building in a digital version on the internet where people are going to walk in and experience your brand. They're going to get the very best of you on there. And so if you're out, again, I'm going to go back to it. If you're out looking for the cheapest thing, that's probably not going to serve you well.
Yep.
Okay. If you're looking for one of those Wix or Squarespace $25 a month builders, it's going to be okay. Right.
Yeah.
Just like an okay urgent care location. It's not going to be real inspiring and all that kind of stuff. And then also you can get the Picasso of the internet too. Right. And you're just going to spend $100,000 on an over bloated mess of a website, or could, right?
Yeah.
So unless you're doing custom dev, just think about what you're trying to accomplish with your website. You're trying to get people to understand what you do on the internet and turn into a patient. And that's the investment. Just like your building is designed to serve the people that converted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, we'll keep moving straight through.
All right.
Ad side.
So digital advertisement, Google, Meta, they're essential for reaching people. Google Ads is we've asked this probably a dozen times on interviews on our podcast, where we've talked to the marketing
Yeah.
the marketing director of an urgent care or the owner of an urgent care,
And they're super consistent with this answer.
the answer is always here. Well, let me give you the question. The question is, if I only had one tool that I could use to get patients coming through the door, which one would it be? 100% of the, well, I don't know. One person gave me grassroots
Yeah.
and then backed out of that and said, nah, never mind, Google Ads. So
Yeah.
paid ads is going to be the number one way to do it, right? Here's the cost. It depends on how many locations you have, how big the market is.
Competition, all the things.
All of the things that go into that. Here's what we found where a single location with a moderate level of competition can be successful with a $1,500 budget. We used to say $1,000 budget.
Yeah, we're moving to that 1,500 now. It's just real.
It's real, and it's also, this is important too. It is a starting place.
Yep.
Right. This is to take you from 15 patients today. This will take you to that 23 to 25 patients per day so that you can break even. Then you're going to have to punch through that barrier once you start making money and up it and to 2,500, 3,000 plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Google Ads, there are some markets that we have one that spends what, 15 to 20,000 a month.
Yeah.
On Google Ads. They're in a highly competitive market.
Against our recommendation.
They're in a high, they want to spend it. They just got it. They got it earmarked, and that's what they want to do.
Well, and I think it should be noted here that just so you guys know, for a single location Google Ads urgent care, single location urgent care that's running Google Ads, we're finding that at the moment, now this can change, but at the moment here in October 2025, that around 8,000 a month in ad spend, you have diminishing returns, where the platform will spend it, but the cost for the conversion just goes up.
That's it.
And that's pretty, we found that because we have a handful of clients that have broken that. And then we just saw, like, yes, they're getting more conversions, but the cost of the conversions starting to rise versus the ones that are in that three to five. If I was going to pick a sweet spot, probably about 5,000 is a sweet spot for a location. Not required, just a sweet spot. And it makes a really, because like I said, we have a couple that are in the 10 to 12,000 plus or 20,000. It just burns dollars. It really does. And it's, like I said, it still brings in more patients. He's still making money off of the patients, but it's just not as healthy as you'd want it to be.
Last point on this, and then we'll start moving on, is you want to look at a cost per conversion on Google, somewhere between $12 to $15 per conversion.
Yeah.
And so if you think about it, at $15 per conversion with a $1,500 budget, that's 100 conversions. At 70% of those being patient bookings, which has been the number that we've seen over and over again, that's going to get you about 70 new patients. So if you think about that, that's going to be roughly 18 to 20, maybe even $22 cost per acquisition on that patient, right?
Yeah.
So why do I tell you this? Once you start getting somewhere between, well, I'll just say it this way. Once you get to $15 per conversion, at that point, you should consider increasing your budgets for more patients, not focused on lowering your cost per conversion. Google's not going to allow it, right? So Google is only going to let you get by with so much before they start just increasing the price. Let's take a quick minute on Facebook ads. Used to be not my top recommendation, still probably not my top recommendation, but I am seeing some of the work that we're doing with multiple urgent cares that we work with, where we're starting to see people converting on Facebook. And I think that's twofold. We have a higher quality team than we've had ever before that are really good in the meta space. Two, their algorithm has gotten really, really good at finding exactly who needs your services based on intent and search volume. Now, do I think it needs to be the vast majority of your budget? No, it probably needs to be the third or fourth thing that you roll out. Okay, honestly speaking. But when you have budgets that you have good, healthy budgets that you can work with in the marketing, I would highly consider Facebook, Instagram, or Meta, if you will, as part of your mix. And I don't think you need any more than 500 to 1,000. When you start getting into the multiple locations is where you see these bigger budgets. Again, the factors that influence it are the target audience, the competition, the ad quality and relevance, platform. All of this will be in detail on how we do this in another webinar. For now, we're just talking cost. All right. If you found this helpful, you can watch the full session or you can grab our free 2026 marketing budget planner. It's in our show notes and it's a practical tool. We want you to be able to use it to plan smarter, to measure better, and to make sure your marketing spend actually deliver results. Mark your calendar, though, for the next live webinar. It's going to be on Thursday, November 20th. We're going to be tackling value versus vanity metrics. It's how to stop chasing empty numbers and start tracking the data that actually leads to patient growth. You can register using the link below in the show notes. As always, I want to thank you for being a Walk-Ins Welcome listener. We love you as a listener. Thank you so much. If you love us, share that love with us by subscribing and leaving us a review, and we'll catch you next time.